Houston Chronicle today, it indicates that Review Houston uses a formula to determine which roads are worst, and that is the order in which projects are funded and completed. I think we ought to revisit, is there a worst first formula or not? I think most of us would agree that it's nebulous at best now what that definition entails. Another thing, Mary, you mentioned that construction cost is increasing rapidly, and that is a fact. But with the construction costs increasing as rapidly as they are, maybe we ought to actually revisit this pay-as-you-go element, because it may end up costing projects costing more, but much more. And the last thing I'm really concerned about, we'll be supporting the amendments offered by Councilman Green and Councilmember Martin. I'm concerned about the CIP allocation in FY 16 and 20. When I see on one of the charts here, they have pretty much nil. And I think that maybe we should have a discussion which centers around whatever the CIP dollars are going to be, the collective pool. Maybe we take half of that pool, 50%, and divide it equally among all the district council members. Then the other half could be divided based on some kind of needs basis. But I think no particular district should walk away with zero. Thank you very much. I look forward to further discussion on these items next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bradford, believe me, if I could amend the pay-as-you-go element of Rebuild Houston right now, I would. It's a good government long-term change, but in the short run, it's very painful, and with the cheapest money in generations, I would be leveraging the heck out of those dollars. We could do many times the number of projects, but in order to do that, we'd have to change the charter. So that would require a vote of the citizens. And philosophically, if you're asking what my position is, the administration's position is that for water sewer projects, it's where the need is, and for street and drainage projects, there's a formula, and we have an advisory committee that helps Public Works define the formula. It is generally worst first, but there are elements within that are not, such as the council members do weigh in on wanting neighborhood streets opposed to major thoroughfares and so forth. It is the vertical CIP where we try to equalize as much as possible. Water projects and sewer projects are where they need to be, and there may be zeros across much of the city. Street and drainage projects, if you do worst first, the same thing, but we try to make sure that parks, libraries, and health clinics and those sorts of amenities, we try to spread that around.
Thank you.
It's not a perfect system, but that's what we try to do.
On the same issue about the pay-as-you-go and an opportunity to revisit it from a charter standpoint, any comment on what items you will be presented to council to vote on, to go on the ballot? And this may be one of those that we should look at to go on the ballot for consideration this November.
I hadn't actually considered that. Not a posted item for today, so let me pin the answer to your question. I certainly intend in July to take up any potential charter amendments, but I had not contemplated going back to the voters on undoing the debt piece of the rebuild.
Thank you, Councilman.
Then Councilmember Christie, amendments.
Just offer one amendment, 16.01, in order to realize cost savings in vehicle purchases, fuel purchases, and to decrease the carbon emissions from the city's fleet. Establish a requirement that at least 25% of non-emergency on-road vehicles purchased annually, non-diesel, non-gasoline powered, with a propensity towards CNG, LNG, propane, electric power. As you notice in this amendment, I'm not asking for a nickel. I'm just asking for a propensity for purchasing 25 to 100% non-diesel. It'll save money and energy, millions of dollars. It'll clean up the environment. And we are spending $217 million in the next 5 years. $217 million in the next 5 years for vehicles in this city. So let's clean up the environment and save money on energy. Thank you very much.
Okay, amendment, one amendment received from Councilmember Christie. There were a number of council members who weighed in, and some of you have gone off again. We cleared it, and I wanted to make sure that now debate on the, we received amendments, we'll bring them forward. Anybody else who wants to weigh in or has other amendments to offer? Councilmember Costello.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to address some of the topics that you just brought up and Councilmember Bradford brought up. And first of all, someone who's been in the construction industry for over 35 years, construction prices fluctuate. So I think the conversation about the fact that the CIP has been modified because of rising construction costs, I think is a ruse. I think, yes, construction costs do go up. The simple fact that we're paying for 380 agreements that we weren't proposed to be paying for, that's why some of these adjustments have been made. Relative to the fact of the pay-as-you-go part of the program, Mayor, that you just said, prior to the passage of pay-as-you-go, for every dollar we were putting in the ground, we were paying $1.60 in debt service. That's poor business management. And oh, by the way, without the passage of Rebuild Houston, we wouldn't have been able to do the Bayou Greenway 2020 initiative because we couldn't afford another $100 million in debt service. And no matter what you're saying about the glut of putting more projects on the ground, the minute you put a ton of projects on the ground, you raise the construction price because there's not many contractors to do that work. So you have to find a balance. And you can't go out and simply sell debt because we also have a debt ceiling that not many people are paying much attention to that we're going to have moving forward over the next couple of years. And as a result of the savings of the pay-as-you-go, we were able to sell more debt to do the CIP vertical construction that we're talking about. So there's a lot of information here that's not being said that I want to just challenge for one time. Thank you.
Councilmember Boykins.
Thank you, Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Costello. Mayor, you know, last week I wasn't here, and this was one of the votes I regret I didn't have an opportunity to participate in, and that was Costello's amendment on the 380. It's really unfortunate for the city of Houston, the people in the city, to be misled for many of years about this Rebuild Houston program. I know in particular in District B, when you talk about infrastructure, and I know Davis would probably agree in B, it's been lacking for many years. Rebuild Houston, for the voters and the taxpayers in the city of Houston, please note, the money is in what we refer to as a lockbox for infrastructure projects. It can't be used to pay a salary, police, fire, it's for infrastructure. Now, the mayor saw the need, and maybe I'm stepping out of line by saying make an adjustment with the Director of Public Works. I never thought the commitment was there to the program itself. Now we have someone who's leading and they're rooting. I have a lot of respect for how he's taking this program very serious. But the program is a great program. There are some folk in my community trying to stir it up like the $3 or $5 impervious cover fee is a bad thing, and it's because it hadn't been sold. If we didn't have this program, the CIP projects will be in the same boat where people be complaining about flooding in the District D area and throughout the city of Houston. Now we have money set aside for these projects. The next mayor is going to be extremely important to the city of Houston because we have a lot of money sitting in this account to make sure that this program is put in place and is dedicated for street and drainage projects. I think as district council members, we need to, well, let me back up. Dwight Boykins will not play politics with this. Tell my constituents exactly what this program is set up to do, and our job is to make sure the mayor is accountable, or the Director of Public Works is accountable to implement the program. It's a great program, and I'm not going to play politics with this program. If we didn't have it, District D infrastructure projects will suffer. And for those who voted against that Costello's 380 agreement amendment last week, you got to understand that's why people don't trust politicians. They voted to make sure that money was in a lockbox for infrastructure, not to pay salaries, not to pay reimbursement to developers. That money was set up for street and drainage projects. That's why people voted and gave us a 50.1, if I'm not mistaken, approval rating to pass this. The voters passed this thing. I don't know what the Texas Supreme Court ruling, where it came from, what findings they have, but I hope that the district court will look at that and say, look, the voters voted for this thing, you can tweak it however you want, but the voters approved this thing. And my understanding, according to the attorneys I've been talking to, if that happens, it will come before the city council, and we as council members will have the ultimate say. Rebuild Houston is a great program. I'll take that to my grave. I was part of it. I'm not an engineer, but I was a taxpaying citizen who got off the sideline and went and looked at this program with a group of engineers, and I saw the need to address infrastructure in this program with those engineers, and it's a great program. We just have to sell it and let our community know the truth. Tell them the truth about this program, and quit playing politics with it. It's a great program, and we need to quit stripping money out of it. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Watkins, may I respond?
You may, Mayor.
I don't want anyone to believe that I'm in any way disparaging Rebuild Houston. I believe in Rebuild Houston. It was a great thing, and I fully support it. It is painful, however, to make the transition between debt financing and pay-as-you-go, and there was a period there where street and drainage projects slowed down because of that. But I want to be very clear. Rebuild Houston dollars are going to infrastructure. You're very well familiar that there are 4 revenue streams that come into Rebuild Houston, including the drainage fee. And so we were already paying for salaries out of the ad valorem that was going into Rebuild Houston, so we're still paying salaries. Which is not the drainage fee itself goes to projects, but there was a large workforce in public works that was already being paid for by part of the revenue stream. And so when we say it's not, so people will they'll open the book and they'll say, oh, well, there are all these people on the payroll in public works. And you say, yeah, they were on the payroll before. How do you think we were paying for them? So when we say, Rebuild Houston money is pure, we're not doing anything with it. Anybody can come and look at the books. The city controller came in and had no problems with it.
And Mayor, let me just say, since I still have a few more minutes, you are absolutely correct, and I hope it didn't come across that I was saying you were not part, you were a champion. And I appreciate that, Mayor, but let me say this.
Salary issue I wanted to.
Yes, ma'am, but I can guarantee you, when it was on the ballot, if we would have put in the language that we were gonna spend $2 towards salaries, it probably would not have passed. That's the point I'm making. I was campaigning, saying that it was a good program, and the money was in a lockbox for street and drainage projects only. That's what I thought, and I was out campaigning for it, to be honest with you.
The drainage fee it goes into the lockbox,
Yes,
but
sir.
other monies go into the lockbox
Yeah.
too. We were already paying for salaries in that.
The other
That's
3
what I'm
funding
trying to-
sources, I get that. Thank you.
Councilmember Martin.